it's Sunny, and welcome to the Well-Read Society.
Because I'm not a nigga, I'm a man.
Impossible to make a bigger mess than has been made already.
Called to use the term white supremacy.
We're all kind of fighting for the little versions of ourselves.
Incendiary statements makes us uncomfortable.
So just in case you're a little bit confused, Black History Month is an annual observance in which we celebrate, honor, and remember Black history and its people and its events. To this day, the American version of Black History Month, which takes place in February, is the best known and most celebrated. And in honor of this, I decided to focus my reading month around African American or just generally Black American authors. While I do read them all throughout the year, I want February to be specifically about them. And I want to share with you some books on my TBR for February that were all written by Black American authors. So first is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. So Tomi Adeyemi is a Nigerian American author, and Children of Blood and Bone is her debut novel, and it was a success. It was received so well, critically acclaimed, and it was God. I feel like my hoops are bigger than my brain because I cannot speak English today. Anyway, so as I was saying, Children of Blood and Bone is Tomi Adeyemi's debut novel, and it debuted #1 on the New York Times Young Adult bestseller list, which is a lot for a debut novel, and it received so many awards, countless awards. And I am so excited to read it. I've explained the reason why I want to read it on my other video that was my 2021 TBR, so you can go check that out. And I think it's beautiful what Tomi did here because, you know, growing up, a lot of Black girls don't have representation anywhere, but especially if you're into reading and reading young adult and reading young adult fantasy specifically, it's almost like the characters are always white and it's really hard to relate in some ways. You don't even have to relate, but just being like, ooh, this person looks like me. And this is what Tomi Adeyemi did with this book, and it was her intention actually. She said that she decided to set this book in West Africa with a main character who is a Black girl, not only because she's Black herself, but in her own words, so that a little Black girl could pick up my book one day and see herself as the star. I want her to know that she's beautiful and she matters and she can have a crazy, magical adventure, even if an ignorant part of the world tells her she can never be Hermione Granger. So I think that's beautiful that she wrote this book not only for herself, but for all the little Black girls out there who are book nerds and love fantasy but don't really see themselves represented. And I think the way she explained her intention is beautiful, and it makes me even more excited to read it than I already was. The next book is If Beale Street Could Talk by James Baldwin. So James Baldwin was an African American novelist, essayist, and social activist, and as a gay Black man, a lot of his work revolved around race and sexuality and the intersection of both. And because of this and his phenomenal work and activism, he was a major figure and inspiration for both the civil rights movement and the gay rights movement. And he led such an extraordinary life. You can read all about it online or in his books. And while he was American, he did spend most of his adult life in Paris. And If Beale Street Could Talk is one of his many published work, and I own several of his books, but this one is one that I'm most excited to read. And also, it was adapted into a movie by the director Barry Jenkins, whom I love, so I'm especially excited to read it and then watch the movie. James Baldwin is such an amazing author, so I expect nothing but excellence from this. Next, we have All About Love, New Visions by Bell Hooks. So Bell Hooks is an American author, professor, feminist figure, and social activist. If you consider yourself a feminist or have looked into feminism, you might have heard of the concept of intersectional feminism. And so Bell Hooks did not invent it per se. The term intersectional feminism was coined in 1989 by Kimberly Crenshaw, who is also a black woman and a feminist. But while the term wasn't invented until then, you could definitely say that Bell Hooks was one of the precursors of the movement, because most, if not all, of her work revolved around race and gender and class and how those things intertwine and the intersections between all of those social categories and minority groups. And I want to read absolutely everything that she's published, because everything that I've read online, because you know I read excerpts and extracts from her work, and I really want to read everything this woman has written, but for some reason that I cannot explain, her books are really hard to find in Europe, and even when I do find them, they have such high prices, higher than most books. And so I'm gonna start with All About Love simply because this was the one that was easily available and at a decent price, like a regular book price. So I got this one and I'm gonna read it, and I'm excited to read more of her work when I find a way to get her books for a normal price in France. So yeah, cannot wait to read it. Next is Eloquent Rage by Brittney Cooper. This book was a gift that I got from Sumaya. If you're new to this channel, there are two of us on this channel, and Sumaya is the other host on this channel, and you can go check out her videos after you're done with this one. But it was a gift from her, and I'm so excited to read it. Brittney Cooper is an author, professor, social activist, and cultural critic, and she's also a co-founder of the Crunk Feminist Collective. And I think it's especially relevant for me to read this book in February, not only because February is Black History Month and this book was written by a black woman, but also because it totally correlates with the theme of our book of the month for the book club. And if you're new here and you're a little bit confused, like what book club are you talking about? Hi, quick introduction. We are a book community that strives to encourage people to read more diverse books, and to help you do so, we have a bi-monthly book club over our Instagram. And our book of the month for January and February is Rage Becomes Her, The Power of Women's Anger by Soraya Chemaly. And this book, obviously, as the title states, revolves around women and their anger and the importance and the power in that emotion. And while that book revolves around anger and rage as an emotion in women in general, this one gets a little bit more specific because the subject is the same. It's the power of anger, but this one gets more specific because it focuses and centers black women in that conversation. So I think it's the perfect way to complement the other book. I think they will go really well together. And so as soon as I'm done reading Rage Becomes Her, I'm picking up this one. And the last book on my TBR is The Color Purple by Alice Walker. She is still alive, God. So Alice Walker is an American author and social activist. She is a prominent feminist voice, and she even coined the word womanist, which is a term to describe a black feminist or a feminist of color and to unite them as well, which I think is really important and something that I really want to look into more, because while feminism is for everyone, every single woman, I think it's also important to create spaces specifically for black feminists and feminists of color to, you know, exchange their shared experiences and unite to work together on dismantling not only patriarchy but also the racism that they live. So I think that womanism is a great concept that was invented by Alice Walker. She has published several books, but The Color Purple to this day is still the best known, and it was even adapted into a movie by none other than Steven Spielberg, a famous film director, and the movie features Oprah Winfrey and Whoopi Goldberg. So I haven't seen the movie, but once again I want to read the book first because I cannot believe I still haven't read it. I know it's gonna be a tough read because it goes over really difficult subjects, and if you're easily triggered, this is not the book for you. But I'm gonna brace myself and, you know, grip my seat, put my seatbelt on and read it, because while it might be a bumpy ride, I know that it's a beautiful book that I need to read. And yeah, it's the last book on my list for February. So yeah, that was my TBR for Black History Month, and I highly encourage you to create one as well. And if you plan on focusing your reading month on Black authors and Black American authors this month, please do let me know what you plan on reading in the comments, because I want to know. And if you're not too sure what to read, then you should definitely go over to our Instagram, because like I said, we are a community that focuses on helping you diversifying your bookshelves. And so we have several lists and recommendations, and we have some specifically about Black authors, so you might find your next read on there. You might get inspiration from those posts to create your own Black History Month TBR. And also you can join the monthly book club, because you still have a whole month to read the book even if you missed January, because this is now a bi-monthly book club. While we're on the subject of Black History Month and Instagram, we are working on a project for Black History Month in February, so definitely stay tuned and keep an eye out for our post if you want to learn something. And thank you so much for watching. I'm hoping that you enjoyed this video. And if you're a little bit bored, you don't know what to do, you know what you should do? You should go check out our other videos. But before doing so, please don't leave now. I see you. Stay here just for another minute. You can like this video, subscribe if you're not subscribed already, turn on the bell notifications, and comment and share the video to support us. And by the way, thank you so much for 200 subscribers, because we started this 2 months ago, so it's amazing to see how fast we're growing, and we're really grateful for you and your support. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.